Hello and welcome back to Cryptid Hauntings. We are the Gardner family. I'm Mike, this is Chris, Mark, and Pam. And today we're going to be talking about Roanoke. But first, Chris, what's your favorite candy bar?
I like Three Musketeers. Those are probably my favorite. I like eating them and taking them apart and eating the soft gooey sides of it. It's just the best way to eat them. Or you eat them frozen. Makes the shell come off easier.
Doesn't that make the nougat harder?
It does make the nougat harder, but... Sometimes you can break the nougat and then eat them.
Only
in
if you
little
bend
chunks.
it quickly.
Only if you bend it quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because then it...
But then it doesn't ever break in one piece and you've got nougat pieces
It's
everywhere.
like oobleck.
It is like oobleck.
If you pull it quick, it'll snap.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, it just bends.
Okay, that's fair. Mark, what's your favorite candy bar?
I like fast breaks. I like the peanut butter and the nougat and the chocolate. It's just yummy.
Pam, what's your favorite candy bar?
If I can get them, I like Curly Whirlies, but they're UK candy, so I have to special order them. But they're like caramel and chocolate, and if I can't get them, I like Fast Breaks. I like that peanut butter nougat. So you can tell there's a theme. We like nougat.
Well, we like peanut butter too, because my favorite candy bar is a Reese's peanut butter cup. So, peanut butter, weirdo who can't eat peanut butter.
It's true.
Hey, just because I'm allergic to peanut butter doesn't mean I don't like it. I just can't eat it.
Isn't that weird?
It sucks. Because fast breaks were my favorite, and then it's like, oh no, your body hates you. You have to have
He was
allergies.
telling me the other day he was making a sandwich for his kid and then licked his finger because it had peanut butter on it and then had EpiPen himself. And I was like, why don't you just get like sunflower
I can't
butter?
have that either. I'm allergic to sunflowers. I'm allergic to almonds too.
Sucker.
It sucks.
What is Nutella? Nutella's not all
Hazelnuts.
It's hazelnuts. I can't
It's
have
hazelnuts. Hazelnut and chocolate.
it. And I hate Nutella.
Yeah,
It's nasty.
it's funky. I don't like
I like
I
Nutella.
don't like
Nasty.
Nutella.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, because you can't have it.
You're talking about these peanut butter cups that you get for Tonya.
Oh, yeah. Well,
What do they look like? I want to know.
He can't
Describe
eat,
it.
He can't eat it.
I can't.
Sultry, describe it to him.
describe it to me.
Do it slow.
39 cents a minute. Describe me peanut butter cups. No, we get these peanut butter cups and a soft toffee like your Curly Whirly at a local shop. We'll have to bring you back some.
How big are these Reese's peanut butter cups? Come on, I want to know more. Let's go.
Take your face. Cut it in half.
It's that
Make
big.
it into a circle. It's about the size of these peanut butter cups.
It's a big peanut butter cup. Sounds delicious.
I think I got a side hustle to make some money off of Chris. Describing foods he can't eat anymore.
Off of Chris, he's going to have people describe it to him.
In my pantry, I've got this bag of these really delicious spicy wasabi peas.
I don't like wasabi peas. I like
Crunchy, delicious.
snow peas. Those were my favorite. They don't like me.
Where they go snap.
Yes.
1-800. Describe Chris your peas.
No. I don't want that one. No, thank you.
You're going to get other peas described.
It was yellow.
That's a rotten pea, Mike.
Or a,
I don't want to know. We're done. Let's continue.
Rails derailed off. Roanoke.
Roanoke.
oh no.
Back on course.
I think that was our problem, was the course correction.
Man. Yeah, probably. So in 1584, it was undisputed fact that under the rule of Philip II, Spain ruled the colonization game in what some would call an attempt to keep up. Queen Elizabeth I would send out a party of colonizers that would eventually settle on Roanoke Island, in what is today known as North Carolina. When the Carolinas When in the Carolinas, the expedition had made contact.
Expedition?
Yes, expedition. I'm dyslexic, I apologize. I know, you're dyslexic too, calm down. Made contact with the
Algonquin.
Thank you, tribe of natives. More specifically, they had made contact with the chief, I won't slaughter the name, I apologize, Grand Ganamio of the Roanoke tribe, who in the place of his brother, the tribal leader and chief, thought that the English would be a strong ally, so they made them feel welcome and right at home in their island. What some say is probably most important out of the primary expedition is that when they were finished, the ship left back to England with 2 Algonquin tribe members so the English could learn more about them. Almost a year to the day later, 600 soldiers on 7 ships would leave England to settle North America in the first attempt of an English colony on Roanoke Island. After having traveled from April to June, the military colonists would have to stop in Puerto Rico to repair damages to their ships that had occurred during a storm on their way to North America. Ralph Lane, the man who was appointed governor of the island, thought that Sir Richard Grenville was taking part in privateering and that it was going to cost them time and supplies, and did not want to stop off at Puerto Rico to repair ships. As it turned out, he was partly correct, and when they arrived at Roanoke Island, winter had nearly set in, and one of the ships was too big, so they had to dock it in the Atlantic, subjecting it to more damage and then eventual loss of supplies. Lane was eventually left on the island with only 100 men due to the loss of the supplies, and they were instructed to construct shelter so that others could go back to England and return later with supplies. They constructed a fortification with homes surrounding it and made metal working shops nearby. They initially thought that they could rely on agriculture to survive, but this was untrue, and the settlers had to rely heavily on the Algonquin for assistance. This is said to have led to pneumonia in the colony, causing the construction of a jail, among other things. So, your thoughts on this so far?
I think it's fairly telling that they go from 600 soldiers, and because it's the dead of winter, because they're losing supplies, they're now down to 100 soldiers, and they're relying heavily on the Algonquin to survive. I mean,
the Roanoke colony is different than what is being set before. So before Sir Raleigh Scott does send 2 previous expeditions that are more military in nature, because that's who you're sending. Just looking historically, you've got a shift in Europe that's taking place with your social classes. And so you have a whole bunch of second-born men of the gentry who have nothing better to do, and so those are usually the ones who are coming over and being involved in exploration. So Raleigh Scott is taking more military expeditions. This one is different because it is more family-centered. We really don't see that family-centered colonization with English until 1609 with the Plymouth colony. Because you're looking at Puritans who are escaping for religious freedom issues. Usually it's just these second born gentrymen who are coming over. So this Roanoke colony is different in that you do have a more family mix. It's not military. There you might see some of that, but it is more of a mix. It's not weird to have women come over, but it's not very likely. So when we look 40 years later, when you're looking at like Jamestown, it's mostly again this group of gentry men who are coming over. When you start to see women come over, it's usually because their husband's coming over, and then they're specifically there to do things like laundry and cook.
Yep.
Unless it's the starving time in Jamestown, and then they get eaten for dinner.
It's true.
Cannibalism.
So
Are they
they're
German?
no, they're English, Michael.
Oh, but Germans are the ones who eat
I
people.
know. It goes against my rule about those who are going to be cannibals. Is they're not German. They are English. But also during this time too, like back at the beginning when we're looking at exploration, the Portuguese and the Spanish are those who are right off the bat getting on that exploring game. The Portuguese are really staying to Africa, and that's really what is fueling that. It is they're playing in the islands around, and then they have forts all around Africa, which is why you have the Spanish who fund Christopher Columbus in 1492 to go west.
But they're all the way up in the Orient also.
So that they're looking because you also have you had land trade, but you've got a lot of stuff that's going on in different holdings and infighting that's happening in the Middle East. And that's why they're looking for a water route, because they don't want to go through that. Because you've got the Crusades that have been happening. This is towards the end of that. You had plagues that were going on. So they're trying to find that water route. In the 1400s, Spain controls Africa. Portugal controls the route around Africa. Spain, that's why they go west, because the idea is if you go far enough west, right, you're going to hit
east.
There were some people who thought there was a landmass there. Others weren't sure how big it was, right? We hit east. And then once Spain gets into Mexico and then gets down into South America, they find silver and they own the world. They control it.
Basically.
During this time too, so we're going forward right to this time period, so like the 1590s, you do have the Anglo-Spanish wars going on, because you have England that wants to get involved because they see how lucrative it has been for Spain. So they're starting to colonize and send, but the fun parentheses about your English, what's the word I'm looking for? Pirates.
Explorers?
No, pirates. They're pirates. They are pirates. They're simply going out to raid Spanish galleon ships.
Catch the gold, baby.
Yep.
English are going to call them privateers. That's the word I'm looking for, but they are pirates.
Yep.
This is also where we're going to see that turn to where the Spanish controlled the seas, and then 1590s is when you get the Protestant win, where the English are able to decimate the Spanish navy,
Yes.
and then take control of the Atlantic. And then
that's
they're
when
going
everything
and then you're
switches.
you're going to see that control in the Atlantic really until World War One, and then you see the Germans going to pick it up, and then America's going to take it. America.
So you don't mess with Merca battleships.
U-boats are decimating things right and left before then. But anyways, I lost my point. But there's some history on that.
Are we history or are we cryptids?
I mean, sometimes having a little both. Sometimes having that context can help explain it too.
I think it's fantastic.
So you know
I'm just making fun.
why they're going.
Yeah. So from what I had found in this, what we already talked about is that England had already sent over the military to colonize this. They end up going back, and then a year later, a dude named John White says, "Hey, look, I can do a better job than what the military people did."
That was until 18.
It was a year later. It was
1587.
So when we're looking at it, this really the stronghold in North America in this 1580 period is the Spanish in the southwest or the southern half of the United States and in Mexico. You've got the French who aren't really going to try until the 1600s. England tries. This is the first time they're trying in that 1580s, and then they're just where they landed was
Bad.
inhospitable.
It was a
Yeah.
bad.
It just didn't
bad
work.
choice.
So Raleigh goes back, and so this is that second attempt.
Yes.
And then nothing. You're not going to see a colony again until Jamestown,
Yes.
which is 1601.
Yeah.
Yep. But with that, he goes over with 115 people, whom one is his daughter who's pregnant. She ends up having her kid here in the Americas. So she's a firstborn over. They bring that up in a whole bunch of things. So they start ending up having problems with supplies when John comes over. He goes, hey, I want to go back. He leaves for 2.5 months to get back to England. England goes, we're not sending anyone out because of the wars that's going on with the ships, with Spain, and so
Which is why the history is important.
Yes.
That's why he gets
know.
stuck. He thinks it's going to be this
it's quick trip.
this quick trip, which quick trip is
Well,
a
today-
year.
yeah.
3 years.
Well, no, the quick
No.
trip. The quick trip would be
It would be 4
about
to
a
5
year.
months. Yeah.
Right.
Because he's got to go and he's got to bring it back. But depending on weather and season, your trade winds are going
Yes.
to move.
It
How
So
fast you can supply, of course.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But
So-
his 6-month voyage, estimated 6-month voyage, turns into
3
3
years.
years
because you
delay.
have this
Because-
Anglo-Spanish war going on, and
Because
then
the queen at the time goes, no one's sailing. We're at war with Spain. We're going to war. Then 3 years later, what you brought up, he ends up going back, and he's like, where's my colony?
What in the F is going on?
Well,
There's nobody here.
and nobody here is an understatement because there's nothing.
nothing
There's
here.
nothing. No bodies. No. There's nothing.
All their
there.
homes are taken down. All they see is a fence from where the colony was. And on that is where they see the word Croatoan.
Croatoan?
Yes, written on it, and then later on they see a tree with the CRO written on it as well. So there's things there, and I guess he talked to Elizabeth saying, "Hey, if you're in trouble, put a cross on there, so we know you're in trouble." And I guess that's what happens, and so we don't really know. Again, no one knows what happened to those colonies. It's just kind of.
I think we can deduce fairly easily that they're saying Croatoan, which is the Native American tribe, and
It's both a Native American tribe and an island, correct?
yes,
Yes.
Okay, just
that's the island they're on.
right. No, they were on
Roanoke.
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 yeah, sorry.
But the
Croatoans just
They're the ones opposite of them.
It's-
So
Yeah.
you have a little.
the area they're in. There's spatterings of islands in this delta that they're in. Anyways,
And it's one of the islands that the Croatoan occupy.
I think in my mind, logically, it's, hey, this is where we've gone. We've picked up, we've left. Croatoan, find us. That's logically in my mind what's going on.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense because it isn't a quick, easy task to carve something into a tree. So it's not like, oh, we're being murdered. Let me hurry and
Hurry
write
and
this.
write this out. No, it's
Just a second. Put the knife down for just 1 second.
right.
Actually, can I borrow that?
So then he ends up trying to go to this island twice. Fails both times because of weather. It's a rented ship, so the ship guy goes, I'm not taking you a third time. You can go, And they end up going back to England, so he never actually finds out what happens. That's from what I have found. In all my research I have seen is that no one knows because they can't go back to that island where the Croatoan Indians are at.
Do you have monthage about when he comes back that second time?
I didn't see months. Let me see.
So I didn't see months, but from what I saw, it was right before
hurricane
hurricane
Okay.
season.
season.
So
So-
hurricane season in the Atlantic is from like June to December, with peak being in September.
Yes.
So
That's probably when it was because he just said weather was too bad to sell, and weather had stopped us from selling twice. So from that, it's like could be peak hurricane
just got-
season. Just got crap luck.
I think it's an excuse because weather's too bad to sell from one island to another.
And then you're selling back.
But we can brave the open ocean to go back to England.
Yeah.
well, also depending on severity of weather, you don't really see them far north. You do see them more south because it's that clash in temperature of water that makes those water spouts.
Yes. So what are the prevailing theories of the disappearance?
So the first theory that I had found is that the tribe tried to sail back to England and failed. They couldn't navigate the seas, so they didn't have someone to help navigate where they need to go, so they were stranded at seas with no supplies. Second is that the Spanish came and killed them all off. They were settled down. The Spanish were settled down by Florida, and then they came up and slaughtered them all. But there's not been really any bones or anything to prove a massacre. Third is that they all got sick and died from diseases.
But that goes back to the bones.
Yep. Fourth is they ate each other, like what you brought up, the cannibalism.
There would be round femurs from soup bones.
Yep.
Okay, Ed.
The fifth one is that they were killed by Chief Powhatan, also known as the father of Pocahontas, because she's in that region. Allegedly confessed to John Smith that he was responsible for the execution of an entire colony, most likely referring to Roanoke. The sixth is they joined the Indian group in Croatoan tribes. That is where they were close to settling, like we talked about. And then some other ones are aliens came down and took them all away. That one I don't think happened.
Oh, totally happened.
No. The most likely one I can see is that they joined the Croatoan Indians, and because they're starving and they're like, hey, we need your help us out. They're like, yeah, we'll help you out. And then I have also found, and Mark's seen this as well, that they have actually found DNA between the Croatoan tribes and early English settlements in DNA findings. So that's most likely what happened, is that they joined.
The thing that strikes me as the oddest is, from all of the accounts I read 4 or 5, which isn't a lot, I know, but from all of the accounts I read, it was they vanished without a trace. Like, there's no trace of them at all.
Some of the other ones I have also seen is, these are weird ones too, is that the Croatoan believed that they were witches, killed them because they were witches. Another one is saying that a Croatoan witch cast a curse on them and they all became trees.
So the witch one is pulling a funky face, just because witchcraft.
Broad.
It
It's
also
whatever we want it to be.
it also looks so vastly different depending on where you're looking at it. Like European witchcraft is vastly different than like
Haitian witchcraft.
Haitian Tano witchcraft versus what you would see with Native Americans, what they would classify as witchcraft. So yeah. I don't know. Same like with like 1619 in your Salem witch trials, the witchcraft that they're trying to blame on Tituba is more English witchcraft, which she wouldn't have been doing because they don't use pea cakes. That's a European thing.
Yeah.
So I guess you could claim that like, oh, they were doing something weird like Christian prayers maybe, but yeah, I don't necessarily buy that. But also with that, without a trace, they are on that Atlantic coast. There were big storms that were going through. It could just hit that island and wipe out whatever it was. And going back to like my gentry point with that history layout, these people also weren't builders. They weren't craftsmen. Like, they're not making nice sturdy houses. So whatever lean-to they made is not going to last.
No.
That's fair.
I don't know. It's weird to me that the whole colony goes away. But what makes most sense to me
it is weird.
Is that they did go to another island and found a tribe and said, hey, help us out. We'll become part of you. Which in this documentary I watched, they actually were digging up the islands and they were doing it by layer, and they were finding old English pipes for wool and stuff, and then they were finding pottery from the Indians, and they were finding buttons from that time period. So that's what makes most sense to me, is that they joined the Indians to survive, so they wouldn't get wiped out. But
Mark, you've been oddly quiet. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, I'm just reading my notes a lot of time. Chris is hitting all the major points that I had done research on.
sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, that means we're finding the same information. But I feel like it's more than likely a integration into the native tribes. That's why there's lack of evidence of anything at the site of Roanoke, because they just picked up and they moved and they went somewhere else. You know.
It's integration. We know when we're looking later periods, we know that's fairly common. The tribes are doing like on, the Appalachian. So when we're looking colonially in the 1700s, when colonists are to the Appalachian Mountains and aren't allowed to go past the Ohio River Valley, there are some clashes between the colonists and native groups. And we do know that they're taking individuals and taking them and integrating them in. We know that further north with like the Iroquois, the French are able to they're marrying in and they're using that to fur trap. When we're looking at Indian wars in the Great Plains in the late 1800s, even though there are kidnappings that are going on, I can't remember her name. She's got the tattoos.
Yeah.
There's a couple women, but she's kidnapped, but she's young enough that she's raised and very integrated into society and into the tribes before she then comes back. So it fits with how.
Now I'm going to bring up the Dari stones. I don't know if you guys know about those.
The what stones?
I think it's Dari, D-A-R-E, Dare stones or Dari stones. It's a stone that was found with the daughter's writing on it. That was found in 1930 in that area, and it's just a stone that has her description on who died, like her husband died. I don't know if it mentioned the daughter, but there's that. And then the same person has discovered multiple stones, but they found that the other stones were fake, and they're not sure about this one. It brings up something interesting because of that, where the one stone, if it is real, it's a good description of what
refers
happened.
to mass graves. And,
Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I've never heard of this before.
Oh.
All the things
Have
I
you
looked
guys
at.
heard of this?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
When was it found?
In 1930.
Okay, so
37.
Yes, in the 1930s.
that's
It's like the
for me.
height of the
For me, is
mummy
a
on a train.
taking that with a grain of salt
Yeah.
and trying to look and see if there's other stuff, because we do know since colonizers have landed on the west or the east coast, so on the west coast too, but we're looking east coast early, that one of the ways to colonize the people, to take over a place, is to take over history, erase history. We do know that in the 1820s to the 1900s, there's huge campaign to wipe out history, and so stuff like that is that's why we don't know a lot about some of these tribes. Also, that time period, there's also huge treasure seeking and things that are made up that are faked to make it look like it's old, but it's not.
Yeah, and that's
Which goes back to our giant episode, because a lot of the giants are found during that time period, and
but
they're fake.
With this, they found this one stone, and it's different than the other, because they say there's 48 stones, but this stone is different than the other 47 stones. They actually do testing on them, and then these two scientists end up getting similar stones in that area and doing their own like chisel work, stuff like that. And they had actually found that a drill press was used to cut out the stones, which is back to your saying,
Which puts it more in that 30s time
Yes.
period
and
than
where the
earlier.
The original Dari stone was covered in wax and other things. It's hard to carbon date it or do any actual tests on it because it's now been messed with and they can't do anything with it. I found that interesting. I had actually seen stuff on that before we were doing this podcast or anything like that, and then I remembered these when we were doing the Roanoke stuff. I'm like, oh, this would be something interesting. I didn't know if you guys had ever heard of them or anything like that. So, but that's...
It's something definitely to look into because I hadn't heard of it or seen it.
Yeah, so the one side is her name, and Virginia went hence into heaven, 1591. So her daughter died and went to heaven. And then father, soon after you go for England, we came here, only misery and war, 2 years above, half dead. These 2 years more from sickness, being 24. Savage with message of ship come to us, small space of time. They frightened of revenge ran all away. We believe it not you. Soon after the savages said, spirits angry suddenly murdered all save 7. My child, Ananias, 2, slain with much misery, buried all near 4 mile east of this river upon a small hill. Names were in all their own on their own rock. Put this there also. Savage shows this to you. We promised you give great plenty presents. EWD.
See, and something that I think doesn't give credence to this is she's saying that they've all got their own names on their own rocks in this mass grave. Why have they not found the rocks with the
They
names?
found 47 rocks.
Which we all know to be fake.
Yeah, which they did discover were fake. So who knows if this one
It's interesting.
fake. So I thought that was interesting that this was brought up. I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, further thoughts, but again, the main rock that they found, they can't prove if it's real or not. But if it's fake, it's a good
fake.
fake. So
I don't know, I'll have to do some reading on those.
sorry, I should have brought that up
No.
earlier. I just
Yeah, that would have been great
I'm-
2 days ago.
I'm sorry. I thought you guys knew about them because in research I've done, it brings it up in some other places too of the Dari stones.
I've read about this for years, and that's the first time I've come across it.
What about you? Really?
I've never heard of them.
Oh, I guess I'm the odd one out.
There's an inkling, but I think I just put them in my bucket of this fits time period hoax. So
Yeah, which would make sense. It being a hoax and all.
Circles are too circly.
The circles are too circly. Describe what you're seeing, other than circly circles.
Well, that's
looking,
Like the periods and the dots in between the words, they're like perfect circles.
but
yeah, so
also she's like etching into a rock.
so if you look at them, you're right. They do look too circly and everything, because that's what it is. It's just a 20-pound rock that she's carved into, and the other ones, if you look at the other stones, I don't know if they have pictures of them, but yeah, like this. They found that these ones are made with the drill press. So they found that the drill press made the other stones, and so who knows? It could be fake. I'm pretty sure it is, but something I found on these is I don't want to. Yeah, because the other ones. Are you looking at that stone?
Oh yeah, that's definitely not even close to the same.
Yeah,
So-
that's the other stone that they have in it, and you can tell that the circles are not. They're too circly, like Mark said. Too circly.
I'll have to do some more reading because just looking
Yeah.
at this, it looks like the one maybe, maybe not, but then the other ones there's issues with. And so
Yes.
then if that first one is real, it does
And now it's
calls into question because it's with a set of fakes.
yes.
What's the conclusion?
I think they joined the Indian tribes.
I think aliens did it.
Explain.
Well, how else are you going to disappear without a trace? All of your lodgings and everything. I mean, nature is just too easy of an explanation. Leaving for someone else, that's lame. Aliens is the obvious choice. It's the most entertaining. It's the best thought out. I mean, aliens.
Go further. Why is it more entertaining?
Because everything else is just too boring. Oh, they left to join the Indians. That's just too...
Logical?
Yeah.
Occam's razor.
So you like the thought of a big silver spaceship
It
coming out
doesn't
of the
have
sky?
to be silver.
A
Just like
blue
they,
spaceship, whatever color you want it to be, comes down and says, "You join us now," and then they go onto the spaceship and they go up.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. when did the aliens come from Jackie Chan Adventure?
I don't know, just barely.
Gosh.
Why not? I don't know what aliens sound like. Do you know what they sound like? That's what they sound like.
They might
to me.
sound Indian. Got not
There you
feathered.
go. Or they just do this. Mind tricks. Big
I was thinking
Chris,
the
this
click.
is a audio podcast. You can't just do.
know.
Guys, they do this.
I was thinking the sounds that came from that movie Signs.
Means-
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I lean towards either a natural disaster such as a hurricane that just takes everything and throws it helter-skelter and you really don't know what you're looking at when you come back, or they packed up and they took everything they had and they went to a different region and integrated with the locals.
I can see it as a mix of both because we know with your colony that then comes 10 years later, nobody is prepared for food. No one is prepared for shelter. Like, they're not. So I could see them having an issue, like it's their own little starving time, not having the supplies, not knowing what they're supposed to do to grow food, also being in a place that they're not getting enough fresh water and moving inland.
Because that's also an island problem, is the fresh
Fresh
water.
water.
Tides come in, saturate your groundwater.
And say that's-
And then you're drinking brackish water. Everybody's getting sick, and
Dysentery, all
it's
sorts of stuff.
time to move.
I know it's a little further north, but that's the issue that first winter with Jamestown is they didn't go far enough inland with the Chesapeake, and we're getting tidal salt water.
Yep.
Okay. Any last thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns?
So the disappearance of the Roanoke colony continues to capture the imaginations of historians, archaeologists, and general public. While many theories abound, the mystery has yet to be definitively solved, making Roanoke one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in American history.
Yep.
Something to think about.
I wrote that, and then I read it, and it sounded even dumb while I wrote it. But it was good.
Sounds like
That's
it
my final
belongs in a conclusion in a historical journal, so you're fine.
Right? No, I was just... While I was writing my stuff, I wrote a final thought, and it sounded so bad when I read it.
But it's true. It is one of the most greatest mysteries that's ever happened here in the Americas. Is what happened to this colony? Where'd it go?
Yep.
And it's still a good mystery today.
Okay. Well, next week we're going to be tackling the Bear Lake Monster here in Utah. And hope you guys come and join us for that. I'll spook you later. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cryptid Hauntings. I'm Mike, also known as M. Gardner. As you should know by now, I've written a book, and it will be coming out June of 2026. I would like to share with you a passage from this book, if I may. His eyes were heavy with sleep. Al got a sudden shock as something licked the bottom of his feet. Moving slow as not to startle it, he propped himself up onto his elbow. which caused him a lot of pain. To his surprise, what was licking his feet was a large, multicolored mountain lion. It was bigger than the ones he had seen in the zoo. It was tan and brown and looked like a calico cat. El's stomach fell about 10 feet. He was petrified with fear. What was he supposed to do in this situation? Trying not to make sudden movements, El slowly laid down on his back. His mind blank. El thought the best course of action was to reach out his mind to see if this majestic creature would mean him any harm. "You are not a normal angel," El heard a gruff voice say in his head as soon as his mind touched the cat's. "No, I'm not. How can I understand you?" "I'm a Pantera. Any creature of power can understand me." "Are you going to hurt me?" "No, I just needed to get your attention. You may look at me now if you wish." The Pantera purred. That is just a small interaction of the Pantera, a god from another world that El interacts with. El is a young Nephilim whose parents sell his soul before he's born. He is then thrown from the human world into a world of monsters, angels, and demons that he knows nothing about. His one goal, the one thing driving him to face this world, is his soul. Where is it? Where can it be found? Would you brace hell and back for your soul? Come with me on this journey and see what lengths El will go to find out where he belongs in the world.